In a country brutalized by death and violence, due to a raging drug war against the cartels, the disappearance of a 4-year-old girl had struck a chord with the people of Mexico. No other case of similar nature had drawn such immense public attention and media coverage. On March 22, 2010, little Paulette Gebara, who suffered from developmental disabilities, had mysteriously disappeared from her bedroom in the middle of the night. After 9 days of investigation, the police were dumbfounded to discover the body of Paulette, wrapped in blankets at the foot of her own bed. How is it possible that after a thorough search of the house, no one had found the body of Paulette for 9 whole days? Let's dig deeper to find out. Born to Mauricio Gebara and Lizette Farah, Paulette was born on July 20, 2005. She was born with physical impairments and a language disorder, and she had 2 nannies to help care for her, sisters Erica and Martha Casimiro. Raising Paulette came with its own challenges such as frequent visits to the pediatrician, expensive medications and therapy sessions. The Gebaras also had an older daughter, who was also named Lizette. In 2010, the Gebaras were living in a high-rise apartment in the Huixquilucan district, in the state of Mexico. Paulette's father was working in real estate while her mother was a lawyer. Both of them came from wealthy families and had only ever known a life of comfort and wealth. Erica Casimiro and her sister Martha were in charge of keeping the luxurious 2-story apartment clean and of taking care of the girls. According to Erica's testimony, on the morning of March 21, 2010, they made sure that Paulette's elder sister was ready for school, and then waited with her until the school bus picked her up around 7 a.m. Later, at 8 a.m., they went to prepare little Paulette for kindergarten. After finding the room empty, they notified Paulette's parents. And they looked everywhere for the girl, not only in their apartment but in the entire building, but Paulette was nowhere to be found. After speaking with the neighbors and the security guards, who had not seen the girl, the police were finally called. Immediately, a forensics team was called to aid in the investigation, and soon the entire apartment was filled with police officers and detectives. Inside the apartment, however, they found nothing. There were no signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle, and most importantly, no signs of Paulette. When Paulette's disappearance was reported to the Huixquilucan authorities, the case immediately garnered national attention. The quest to find the missing girl led to billboards, TV ads, and myriads of flyers. Lizette even went on national television pleading with any abductor to let her daughter go. A campaign to find her was launched on social networking sites such as Facebook and Twitter. The Attorney General of the state, Alberto Busbus, quickly became involved, which set off a 9-day intensive search and investigation. This caused controversy in and of itself, since many children went missing in Mexico and nobody lifted a finger, but when this girl from a rich family vanished, the police department used all their resources to find her. Posters of Paulette were posted everywhere in Mexico, and the case quickly escalated into a total media circus. The LA Times reported that the story was more captivating than a drug war, and received more attention than a recent earthquake. Soon after Lizette made public appearances on TV, asking the culprit to come forward, the police and public turned on her. The Attorney General Busbus announced to the public that the parents' stories, along with the nannies, had inconsistencies. On March 30th, they were kept under detention in a nearby hotel and interrogated there by the police. The investigators concluded that Lizette showed no signs of being affected by her daughter's disappearance. She was defensive, anxious and angry. She had an impulsive character and felt little empathy for others. Mauricio was also anxious, didn't show any signs of depression, and was evasive and insecure. There were also undercover recordings between Lizette, Mauricio and their other daughter, which led investigators to suspect Lizette. In one of the recordings between Lizette and her other daughter, it sounded like Lizette told her not to admit anything to the investigators, otherwise she'd get in trouble, according to Mexican news outlet Zocalo. But Lizette later claimed this was taken out of context. These new revelations forced the police to reveal that Lizette was now the prime suspect in the disappearance of her child. On March 31st, after she had been missing for 9 days, police finally found Paulette's body as they were trying to recreate the events on the night she disappeared. They found her body under blankets at the foot of the bed, where a wooden base extended beyond the mattress. This grisly find shocked the nation, and there was even a political uproar. The opposition parties cast doubts on the ruling government's ability to conduct a proper investigation. The discovery ignited a flurry of speculation and internet chatter. How could the girl's body have gone undetected by the parents, nannies, investigators and countless others who walked through the home? Was it planted there? If so, by whom? Moreover, will anybody believe authorities if they claim to have solved the mystery? What angered the people was that there were many inconsistencies in the police statements. For starters, they never told the public just how poorly they had handled the investigation. Authorities had also failed to mention that Mauricio Gebara had close ties with Buzbuz, and both got along pretty well. Buzbuz believed Mauricio's story, and never stopped blaming Lizette. Arriving at the crime scene, the forensics team was only allowed to look for signs of forced entry but nothing more. The crime scene was never closed off. Hundreds of people walked in and out, leaving dirty footprints behind. And during the investigation, a friend of Lizette had stayed at their place, and even slept on Paulette's bed before her body was found. The crime scene was slowly and carelessly contaminated, and any evidence remaining was now useless. Then came more questions. Was the dead girl hidden under the mattress this whole time? Buzbuz would claim that the girl had probably rolled over while she slept, got stuck in between the mattress and the wooden structure of the bed, and died of suffocation. Paulette, he said, had been dead for 5 to 9 days, probably on the day she went missing. If the apartment had been searched extensively by detectives, how could they have missed Paulette's body? And if the girl had been dead for so long, how come no odor of putrefaction was ever detected? Nonetheless, the forensic experts working on the case would later testify that the girl could have only been dead 3 days prior to her discovery. Her body then couldn't have been hidden under the bed the entire time, and her death was most likely a homicide. In the coming days, Lizette was not charged and she proclaimed her innocence. She and her husband, Mauricio, and the couple's 2 nannies were released from custody after several days of questioning, but authorities said they were still under investigation. The public found it hard to believe that authorities had investigated Paulette's room multiple times, and came up with nothing. Many still believed that the parents were allegedly involved in their little girl's death somehow. In fact, as the days passed, Lizette and Mauricio ended up turning on each other publicly on TV. Later on, it was officially ruled that Paulette had rolled over in the night and died accidentally. But the case to this day remains controversial. It is still not completely known what happened to Paulette in 2010, but there are multiple theories floating around on the internet. The 3 most prevalent conspiracy theories around Paulette's death are as follows. The first theory is that Lizette killed her daughter. Having a child with disabilities might have been too much for a woman with a lack of empathy. Lizette could have killed her daughter shortly after her disappearance, and then hid her body somewhere in the house, perhaps in the elevator shaft or an air duct. Most people in Mexico believe she is the killer. The second theory is that it was a staged kidnapping that went wrong. It was suspected that the Gebaras were facing financial troubles, and that they may have staged a kidnapping of their daughter, in hopes of getting ransom money from the girl's wealthy grandparents. They may have initially hid Paulette in an air duct in the building, and told her to stay hidden, but after realizing how much attention the case had gotten, they panicked and couldn't come back for the girl. She then suffocated to death. The third theory is by far the most ludicrous. The theory is that Paulette's elder sister, also named Lizette, might have killed her. The girl, experts said, felt superior to her sister but was also jealous of the attention her parents were giving her. Some speculate that Mauricio and Lizette might have been fighting that night. A scared Paulette started crying, and her sister tried to shut her up, killing her in the process. Of course, these are all wild speculations and there might not be any truth to them at all. But whatever did happen that night, it is true that all the parties involved, the Gebaras, the 2 nannies and even the police, had known more about Paulette's death than they had previously claimed to have known. But even after 10 years, the case is still shrouded in controversy and mystery. What do you guys think happened to Paulette? Is it possible that either or both parents were involved in the disappearance and murder of their 4-year-old daughter? Or do you think there is a vast conspiracy brewing underneath the shadows? Thank you for watching, and we hope you found our video interesting. Like, comment and subscribe for more fascinating unsolved mysteries.